What's up, guys? I am super excited for today's video because for the first time ever, we are doing a monthly build video, but we are incorporating a full custom loop setup. That's CPU and GPU, multiple radiators, a giant reservoir, so much to get into today, and not a lot of time to do it, so let's get moving. Be Quiet continues to set the standard for power supply silence and efficiency with their new Straight Power 11 Platinum series. Available in a huge range of sizes from 550 all the way to 1200 watts, the Straight Power 11 features full modularity and carries the 80+ Platinum efficiency rating. You also get virtually silent operation via their legendary Silent Wings 3 fan. Check out the link below to learn more or head to bequiet.com. So I guess the best thing to do is to introduce you to the parts that we're going to be working with and then just get to building, because like I said, this is going to take a while. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to wrap it all up in one day of filming, so this might end up being a multi-part video. It depends how long it takes me today. So if you guys want to find out what we're building with, let's take a look at it right now, and then we'll start the build process. So let's start on the left side of the table where we have all of our PC components. This is going to be an AMD build. We are basing this around the Ryzen 9 3900X, as most high-end systems are these days. We're going with Ryzen 3rd Gen. This is the 12-core, 24-thread part. I tested this in my launch review. Obviously, you guys know all about it. This is an awesome processor. We're going to be putting it in the MSI Meg X570 Ace motherboard. And I don't know if I have enough room over here. Here we go. That's probably better. I did, in my motherboard roundup, I talked about this board and how it's a really good high-end solution, really good power delivery, fully featured, looks great, and I can't wait to use it with the 3900X. For storage, we're just going really basic. This is a 500 gig Samsung 960 EVO. It's one of the drives that I had available to use in this build. If you are doing a build similar to this, I would recommend that you customize your storage to what your needs are. 500 gig is going to be plenty for us to install Windows, install a couple of games, do some testing and stuff like that. But I would imagine if you're building a high-end system like this, you'll probably want more than half a terabyte, and obviously you can select your drive as you see fit. M.2 storage, NVMe storage is coming way down in price, so just make sure that you are shopping, getting the best price on this stuff, because you can get it for pretty cheap right now. Might as well talk about fans, even though they're not the most important part of our build. Obviously, we're going to need to populate our case and move some air through our radiator, so we're going to use Fractal's Prisma AL12 PWM fans. We've got 6 of them on the table here. I may or may not use a 7th one for rear exhaust, depending on how things shake out, but these are really good fans, and I've used them before. I like them a lot, and they're really simple too. Just they use the 3-pin addressable RGB header. That's compatible with basically every motherboard, so it's really easy to use. For memory, we're going with a 2x8 gigabyte kit of Corsair's Dominator Platinum RGB memory. This came out last year. It's got the Capellix LEDs at the top. They look pretty awesome. They're all black except for the LEDs, which obviously you can configure. This is the 3466 megahertz kit. I haven't had any compatibility issues with this kit with any X570 boards that I've tried, so hopefully that continues today, so we don't have any memory issues and we can get maximum performance out of our chip. For power, we are going to be going with a brand new unit from Be Quiet. This is their Straight Power 11 850 watt 80+ platinum rated unit. Fully modular, as you would expect from a platinum rated power supply. Going to be super efficient, and obviously it's going to come with like their Silent Wings fan, so it's going to be super quiet, and that's what you want from a power supply. Super efficient, super quiet, kind of gets out of your way. You could use only the cables that you want, and yeah, should be great. Now, as far as graphics cards goes, this is actually the reason that I wanted to do this video. I saw this graphics card at CES 2020. This is from Gigabyte. This is their Gaming OC Waterforce WB8G. It's a 2080 Super, RTX 2080 Super, and it comes pre-blocked. So it comes with a water block installed, and a lot of times what you see with cards that come with a water block already installed is that the price is going to be just jacked up. Even Gigabyte is guilty of this. Their Aorus cards, some of them have a Waterforce Aorus card that's ridiculously expensive. I mean, it looks great, but they wanted to make a card that was more focused on the I mean, quote unquote budget side of things. This is still a $750 card, but basically you're not seeing any price premium on this thing versus a normal 2080 Super, and it already comes with a water block pre-installed. So hopefully this is going to allow our temperatures to be really good, and it's not an overly large card either. I think this is the reference PCB design, so this should be really good as far as being really easy to get into our loop. We don't have to worry about spending time installing the block. Comes like this out of the box, and really excited to see what kind of performance we get out of this card. Now on this side of the table, we have all of our water cooling components and our other accessories. I reached out to V1 Tech and they rushed me over this cable set, a GPU backplate, and a GPU support bracket. They're awesome over there. Check them out if you guys need any of this stuff. But I configured a black and green color scheme for our cables. That's what I was planning on doing with this build. As you can see over there, we've got some EK cryofuel solid neon green. So that's hopefully gonna match up really nice with the cable set. The backplate that I chose, as it turns out, has a lot more coloring going on than I originally thought. I guess maybe the photo on the website looks a little bit different than this, but I still think if we make the LEDs all green, that this is still going to look really cool because of the way it shows through the laser cut pattern on here. And then the GPU support bracket that I ordered was the same pattern. So I'm actually really excited to get this whole system together with the cables, with the backplate, with the GPU support bracket, get it all color configured and see how it looks. Because like I said, we are going with green, and I haven't done a green build in a little while, and very excited about that. Now, as far as our block goes, this is EK's Velocity, or Quantum Velocity block. It's from EK, so you know it's going to be high quality. It looks pretty cool too. I really like what they've been doing with the appearance of their water blocks recently. It is RGB enabled, as you could tell. Whether or not I use this is kind of up in the air. I'm not quite sure because it's not addressable RGB. So as long as I can match the green color to the rest of our system, I think we'll hook this up. We'll enable the RGB effects on here as well. But EK Quantum Velocity block looks really cool and should provide us with some good cooling performance. Pump res combo also from EK. I wanted one of their tall boy reservoirs because the case we are building in today is Fractal's new Define 7XL. That case is enormous. Needed something to fill the space, and this is definitely going to do a really good job. It has a DDC pump at the bottom, giant reservoir, input and output. So this is going to basically sit like this in the front of the case, and you're going to see the EK logo here, and then all the tubing is going to run out that way. So this should do us a really good job, and also fill up some of that empty space inside. For fittings, we got a bunch of Bits Power soft tube compression. These are all black, even though the O-rings are green, which is kind of cool because it matches the rest of our color scheme. You're not going to see these, but Bits Power obviously always makes super high quality fittings. Never really have any problems with using these at all. And they're soft tube compression fittings, so to be honest, they're a little bit harder to screw up than a hard tube compression fitting might be. For radiators, we got two Corsair XR5 360 millimeter radiators. These are pretty thin, but they are 360, so they're going to fill a good amount of space. They're going to provide us a lot of cooling capacity. To be honest, way more than we're going to need for our system build. We have two of these. Two of these would be enough for some kind of like an SLI crazy setup or a 3950X, but we're not doing either of those today. So guys, that is it. Those are all the parts we are going to be using today, aside from maybe a couple other fittings that I'm going to need to throw in there. But we've got our case over there. Obviously, it wouldn't fit on this table. It is enormous. Let's start putting components in it and see how it comes out.
I'm running out of time. Every day goes by so fast. And every moment counts, baby, I don't wanna miss a thing. We can sleep under the stars, we can sleep under the stars, or hang out in hotel bars, driving somewhere in your car. We can sleep under the stars, we can sleep under the stars, under the stars. make the most of this night. Come on, baby, take my hand. And we don't need to do the things we don't want to do.
Alright guys, so clearly we have failed in our goals to get this entire video done in one day, and unfortunately we have failed in a couple of other places as well. This build didn't go the way that I wanted it to, and I'm going to show you guys why. Before we do that though, I did want to touch on the process of working with these components. Now, building in the Define 7 XL was just pretty amazing. It was so remarkably easy because of how cavernous the interior is and how modular the case is. So I was able to basically take the whole thing apart. The entire top rail comes out for mounting your radiator and your fans, and also allows you easier access to screw stuff in, like the motherboard, like you probably saw in the build montage. Also, the entire interior is just cavernous and is easily fitted with all of your water cooling components, your radiators, your fans, your pump, res, tubing, everything. There's so much room in there, and obviously also a lot of room for cable management as well. So no issues at all building inside of this case. Also, the Gigabyte 2080 Super Water Force or WB card, amazing. I love working with pre-blocked cards. It just takes an entire giant chunk of time out of the process of doing a full custom loop. The card itself went in without a problem, and it looks great too. So I have no problem with any of the componentry that I've used in here, but I myself made some choices that that didn't go so well. And let me just show you exactly what I mean. So the first thing that you guys probably noticed is that there was a leak. And not only was there one leak, but there were multiple leaks. And at first I thought that working with soft tubing here, the only thing that could really cause a leak is like a blown O-ring, because working with soft tubing is generally pretty easy, especially when you have decent compression fittings like we're working with. Now this one right here, this is the same bits power fitting, it's just silver instead of black. And the reason that the system was leaking was not because of blown O-rings, it was because of fittings incompatibility. So initially I had built the system using several of these. These are EK's new 90-degree adapters. and these fittings. But when you mate these two together, unfortunately, the way they are constructed, the compression fitting does not bottom out against the 90. So it does not compress the O-ring, it does not create a seal, and therefore it leaks. So everywhere that I had these 90-degree fittings in the system, which was more than one location on my initial loop, the system leaked. So as soon as I filled it up, I had leaks basically everywhere. So that was kind of a giant disaster. I had green coolant all over the desk, green coolant in the system. I basically had to drain the whole thing, take it apart, and redo the loop. So that was problem number one. So this loop, in and of itself, didn't come out the way I wanted it to as a result. Let's just take a closer look at that. So problem number two is that as a result of me having to reconfigure the loop, it doesn't look all that different, but it looks different than my initial concept for it. I don't really like the way the tubing runs are. I really want to redo them entirely, because this tube right here was supposed to be almost basically straight vertical. It was supposed to come out of here, make a 90-degree turn via a fitting, and just go like straight up to the radiator. And that was a much cleaner line. It didn't look so sloppy, but the way I had to redo it without the 90 and just using the compression fitting makes it look, I don't know, lazy. And then the rest of the tubing here, there's no real rhyme or reason to it. They are all kind of saggy. The fittings and tubing that I had to use up here are a little convoluted. I mean, I guess it's not terrible, but that's not the way I wanted this all to look. The colors don't match, so this green doesn't match this green. It's not a huge mismatch, but and maybe, I don't know if you could tell on camera, but it definitely is a different color green between the cabling and the coolant. I guess that happens occasionally, and perhaps I could use some dye to change the color of the coolant. Yeah, I don't know. And then, you know, again, my fault for ordering this back plate and GPU support bracket, but these are like rainbow colored. And even though I have the LEDs set to green, they don't look right. Like, I have a rainbow colored backplate and GPU support bracket and green everything else, and that doesn't look right. I haven't installed Windows, so don't mind the different colors on the block and on the memory. That just hasn't been configured yet, but that is something that I eventually will obviously do. So I'm just not happy with this. Like, I think I screwed this up. Like, this is something that I need to fix. And this is going to be part one of two. Part two, I'm going to install Windows. We're going to do all our temperature testing, see how the system performs, show you guys those results, benchmarks and whatnot. But I'm also going to redo the loop. I want to redo it. I want to redo it with clear coolant. I'm going to leave the backplate and the support bracket. I'm going to change out the extensions. I'm going to see if I could use the new Lian Li streamers, so have RGB extensions. I'm going to change the coolant to clear and change the fans to, I don't know, rainbow or something. So hopefully change the look of the system. I'm going to leave the tubing as is for now. I think that this would definitely go over a lot better if it was hardline, but I don't really want to get into that with this build, but I'm going to leave it the way it is and just try to make it look a little bit better and see how that goes. So unfortunately, despite having big plans and big aspirations for this system, it just did not go well. I'm going to chalk this up as a failure on my part, and I'm disappointed in the results here, and I am vowing to fix them. So even though this is a monthly build and it's something that will probably get disassembled fairly quickly after you see the end video in this series, I want to make it right, because I don't ever want to show you guys something that looks like this, unfinished and not the way I wanted it to look, and color mismatched and all that, and kind of present this to you as the finished product, because I'm not satisfied with it. I screwed this up, and I doubt that you guys would be satisfied with it either. So I don't just want to put this kind of content out here and say, yeah, well, good enough, you know, because that's not how we work here. So Hope you guys liked the video anyway, and kind of maybe shows that not every build goes perfectly here on the channel, but hit that subscribe button if you want to see more of this system. Hit that like button if maybe this video helped you out at all. And I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.